We owned a CNC coffee and kitchen for 8 years before we had to shut down.
From good sales to almost nothing.
Every American, everyone in the world should be considered essential.
We looked at all the CDC guidelines. We had people wearing masks. When we opened up, the police were here. The dog groomer next door was open, but our business was considered non-essential. I was immediately put in handcuffs and arrested.
Heading into the pandemic, studies had already found that 30 countries scored higher than the U.S. students in math alone. Many now claim that remote learning did nothing to close that gap. In fact, it put students even further down that ladder. Now, my next guest, Marquise, says that 90% of his students are still struggling with learning loss from going remote.
So my first year of teaching was 2021, which was the first year back from remote learning. They came to me and they said, this is how you set up your Zoom. And that was it. There was no training on how to be a remote teacher. Because of remote learning, the kids lack social skills. They speak in LOL, they speak in LMFAO, they speak in text talk. All they know is TikTok. They lack basic reading comprehension. It's almost like teaching a foreign language every day. There's almost no retention of information. The other day, we went over something on Monday, came back on Tuesday. They couldn't even remember how to set up the exact same problem. These are our future doctors, our future nurses, our future lawyers, our future leaders, and I'm terrified. My passion for teaching has definitely dwindled. Why is no one talking about this?
Marquise, you got a steep hill to climb.
A steep one.
The remote learning really was very ineffective.
Extremely ineffective. I think that kids were in front of a computer screen. Some of them weren't actually in front of that computer screen. They were turning their cameras off and going elsewhere. There was nobody to really monitor them. So yeah, it was hard.
Is there anything being done in your school district to close the gap?
No. As far as the school goes, there's not really much that we're doing to bridge those gaps. I'm just expected to give them that 7th grade curriculum and work through that 7th grade curriculum all the way to the end, regardless of where they are mentally.
Okay, and when you get to the end, if they don't demonstrate that they've mastered the curriculum, what do you do with them? Are they passed? Are they failed?
They're passed. They're moved on to the next grade. We're not allowed to give anybody less than a 60. So failure for them is an option. All they have to do is write their name on the paper and they know they're gonna get a 60. So literally they just move them on to the next grade regardless of what skills or if they acquired anything in that previous grade.
So what is your chance of completing the more advanced work in the 8th grade if you haven't mastered the work in the 7th grade?
There is no chance. The gap is just getting larger and larger and larger. Motivation is getting smaller and smaller and smaller because if you don't know the work, you're not gonna do it. And if I know that you're just gonna pass me just for writing my name on the paper, that's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get on my phone, I'm gonna do everything else. So it's just like, it doesn't work. There is no logic to this. I honestly can't understand it.
And will that continue right on to graduation?
Right on to graduation, right up to graduation. Oh, you did it, yay.
Okay.
So happy for you.
So they walk across the stage and they haven't actually been educated?
At all, not even in the slightest.
Okay, so how are they expected to compete in the job market, to compete in the world?
That is my question. That is why we're here. That is what I'm trying to, how are they gonna be functional members of the society? It's simple things. If you're a cashier, if you don't know how to count money, how are you gonna be someone's cashier? If fitting a sofa through a door, you have to move furniture. You have to know angles. I need to turn it this way. If you don't have that conceptual knowledge, you're not gonna know. Parking, you have to know angles to be able to park. Signing a contract, if you can't read what's on that contract, you're gonna get robbed. And that's what we wanna get them to understand. Like, y'all actually have to be functional members of a society one day. You need to be able to do these things.
So what's the answer?
I think there are a lot of different answers. First, I think that there needs to be a little bit more teamwork between teachers and parents. I don't think it's fair to blame parents because we're all fighting the same fight. We need to be blaming the people with the $1 billion budget. One thing that I thought about, just in particular, coming back from the pandemic, why not just pick up the curriculum where it is instead of teaching 7th grade if I know that my kids are on the 4th and 5th grade level, why not kind of transition back just a little bit for them to be able to acquire those skills? I think that just makes the most sense, right?
Yeah, meet them where they are.
Yeah, meet them where they are, instead of trying to literally bring people up from 3rd grade all the way to, it's a 4-year gap. There's no way that that child is that I'm gonna be able to go back 4 years. They're gonna be able to acquire fluency and then come back on top of my 7th grade curriculum and expect them to get all the way through that. We don't have the time. I only have 60 minutes with your child every day. And in that 60 minutes, it takes 20 just to get them settled.
I'm glad you came here to talk about this so people are aware of what's going on, and God bless you for hanging in.
We owned a CNC Coffee and Kitchen for 8 years before we had to shut down. Right when COVID started, we just noticed that it was killing our business.
And it was like the floor was just ripped out from underneath you because our sales went from good sales to almost nothing in one day.
Every American, everyone in the world should be considered essential. We put our hearts, souls, blood, tears, time into building this business from nothing. That dream was ripped away.
Now, my next guest, Shelley, says after her hair salon was deemed non-essential, she fought to keep it open, and that fight landed her in jail. You'll remember this story.
I've owned this business for almost 7 years. We have about 15 to 18 tenants at one time. We have people that do nails. We have estheticians. It's a fun place. So one day we're just doing business as usual, and then the next day everything is shut down. We actually shut down for a month. So we just, followed the directions. The hairstylist started coming to me and saying, what do? We can't pay our rent. My husband and I felt really responsible. I think COVID locking everything down was possibly the worst thing that could have happened. I just sent my tenants a letter and basically said, if you'd like to open, you're more than welcome to. We obviously wanted to open responsibly. We looked at all the CDC guidelines. We had people wearing masks. And when we opened up, the police were here. After about a week of being open, I actually had to go to the courthouse. My trial was live streamed, and the judge told me that I needed to apologize. And after I told him that I wasn't gonna shut the salon, I was immediately put in handcuffs and arrested. The day that I got arrested, the dog groomer next door was open, but our business was considered non-essential. Ted Cruz showed up to the salon in full support of what I was doing. The salon stayed open the entire time that I was in jail, and it has been open ever since. Someone came in to get their hair done. He was like, I don't understand. How did you open the salon? And I said, with the key.
Shelley, you say that your refusal to close was really something that a lot of people wanted to do, but just were afraid to do.
I think so. And I mean, we actually closed for a month when the COVID shutdowns happened. But after about a month, the people that were working in my salon were having problems with, paying their mortgage, feeding their own kids. And they came to me as the owner and said, what do we do? And so my husband and I went to bed that night. We prayed about it and cried about it. And I woke up saying, I'm gonna open the salon.
Mm-hmm. And what was your thinking? What was your thought process to open the salon? Because at the time, everything was shut down. And you had to go through some thought process that said, I'm bucking the trend here, I'm opening up.
Well, everything wasn't shut down though. Like Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, liquor stores. The dog groomer next door to me was considered essential. Stuff that I just was like, this is nonsense. It couldn't be about safety if certain places could be open, but mine couldn't.
Okay, and did you talk to the judge? Did you talk to prosecutors? Did you talk to anybody about why it was essential to groom the dog but not the owner?
I tried to talk to a lot of people who just didn't have answers. But I said that to the judge. I said that when he wanted to put me in jail. I could have actually been put in jail for 6 months for this. And I just told him, and he wanted me to apologize for opening, making a mockery of them, I guess. And it really wasn't about that. It was about my operators in my salon and me saying, you know what, I'm not gonna be the reason why you can't work and you can't feed your kids. Like nothing made sense. I thought I was getting punked the whole time.
That's the thing that I'm questioning now. And the reason I'm questioning it now, because people are like, oh, COVID, come on. I've talked about COVID till I'm blue in the face. But we have to do a look back on these things, because my fear, my prediction is it's coming again. Whatever happened to your case?
Well, I mean, I went to jail over about 48 hours, a three-day period, though. And what happened was I called my husband from jail the day after I got put in jail. And he told me that people are protesting everywhere and they are going crazy that I'm in jail. And then someone started a GoFundMe page, and $500,000 was in that by the time I got out. People wanted to make sure that my attorney fees were paid. And what's really great is we had a lot of money that we were able to give people that were hurting in a bad way.
Yeah, because you took that and started distributing among business owners.
I did.
That were shut down, to help them pay for their employees and their expenses to survive until they could get back open, right?
We did. We met a barber and his wife that had a barber school. And there was a gentleman that was actually living in his car, trying to go make something of himself, learning how to be a barber. We wrote that gentleman an $18,000 check, and he was able to finish barber school, and now he's teaching other people. And I guarantee you that academy will never shut down.
Well, they shut us down at Paramount, and I mean, they locked the lot. We couldn't get on, and said, you know, your season is over. And Robin and I shot, I think, 25 shows from home, and I think 6 or 8 of them we did on cell phones. Mm-hmm. And she was holding lights up and had the cameras propped up on the cookie jar and stuff, the dogs barking outside and stuff. But we got them done, right?
Yes, we did. Yes, I had makeup mirrors, and I was putting your microphone on, and yes, we did everything in the kitchen. Then we moved to the back of the house where it was a little larger, and I put up towels on the windows if it was too sunny, just whatever we had to do.
You got to do what you got to do, right? And I'm glad you did what you did. I've always said situations don't make heroes. Situations just reveal who people are. And I think it revealed who you were in that moment.
Thank you.
So, thank you.